So, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for this delay. It's war time, and I hope you understand that it's very difficult and tricky to get out even through internet from Ukraine. So we had to change the program slightly. So we will start as foreseen with the president of the Zurich University. Afterwards, we'll have Mrs. Maria Mezentseva. She will be live coming in from London. She is the president currently of the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe and a member of the Ukraine Parliament. Afterwards, we'll have a today recorded video presentation by the Prime Minister of Ukraine. Then we have the Ukraine ambassador, hopefully here. He's somewhere stuck on the highway. And then we'll have question and answers, and that will be the evening. So we have to be a bit flexible, and I hope you understand that. Please.
Thank you very much, Andreas. So please let me welcome our guests from remote. So dear Prime Minister of the Ukraine, Demis Shmyhal, dear Maria Mezentseva, member of the Ukrainian Parliament and President of the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, dear Olga Rudenko, member of the Ukrainian Parliament, Your Excellency Ambassador Artem Rybchenko, ladies and gentlemen present at the University of Zurich, dear online community. Despite the sad circumstances that are the reason for our meeting today, it is a great honor for me to welcome you to this event organized by the Europa Institute at the University of Zurich. I would like to sincerely thank our guests for taking the time to speak to us while their country is in turmoil. The recent developments in Ukraine are a cause for great concern. We are deeply shocked and disturbed about the increasing brutality of the Russian invasion in Ukraine. The latest reports and pictures of the atrocities committed by the Russian military in Bucha cause us deep sadness, anger, and also fear. As a public institution committed to the values of freedom and democracy, the University of Zurich strongly condemns Russia's attack on the Ukraine and the severe violation of international law. The University of Zurich stands in solidarity with all people who have been affected by the war. We also call on European governments to take immediate action to protect the lives and careers of Ukrainian university staff, students, researchers, as well as the entire Ukrainian population. The University of Zurich itself is doing everything in its power to help and, where possible, host researchers and students from Ukraine quickly and unbureaucratically. We want to provide the right kind of help in the right place at the right time, efficiently and in a targeted manner. Ukrainian students and researchers can count on the support of the University of Zurich. They are welcome at the University of Zurich, and they enrich our cultural diversity and academic excellence. Likewise, the University of Zurich supports all researchers who find themselves in a difficult situation through no fault of their own. This war shall not damage the whole scientific community, including those who particularly share our common values, namely also those in Russia and other areas affected by the war. However, to make it very clear, the University of Zurich explicitly distances itself from any Russian universities whose presidents have spoken out in favor of the war. We are currently reviewing all our cooperation with Russian universities and terminate those affected by conditions not corresponding to our values. I am convinced that science and academia can play a role in de-escalating conflicts by providing platforms for discourse and opportunities for open discussions. In this sense, public events like today help to understand the situation in Ukraine. Of course, only to the extent that the war can be understood from a distance. I'm sure that our public lecture this evening can contribute to shed light on the war in Ukraine, which is also a war of information. Before I now pass on the word to our next speaker, I would like to thank Markus Notter, the president of the Europa Institute, and Andreas Kellerhals, the director of the Europa Institute, for making this event happen today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention, and we will continue with our online transmission. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Sorry for being on the route, but being on the route for us is being irresponsible citizens of our country. Thank you for hosting this event, specifically in the premises of the university. As the previous speaker has mentioned, that is very vital, so that the ties with Russia are stopped at every level, including very important one, which is academia. And this is a clear signal to the Russian society, which partially is still supporting the aggressor, who is, in our sense, Putin and his army, to understand that we do fight for the common values, which was also outlined by the professor before me. Spending several working days in your beautiful country has brought us to several conclusions. History is repeating, but some countries are learning the lessons and some don't. But as Switzerland has learned many lessons from the history, stepped away from neutrality for the purpose of preserving peace in Ukraine, but also at all subcontinent of Europe, which is highly appreciated. Your government has managed to align its sanctions at the level of our common European partners, US partners, UK partners. That's highly appreciated, because those who are in power right now, but not only them, also Russian business, Russian energy sector, Russian banking sector are feeling this harsh sanctions on them. We've been calling for several days to consider that those almost 7 billion Swiss francs that were blocked recently has a room to go forward. We're talking at an estimated number of around 250 billion Swiss francs that can be frozen, can be given a second life, let's say, in terms of usage for a rebuild fund for Ukraine, which Swiss government, parliament has initiated and supporting at a higher level. We highly appreciate also, dear partners and friends, that you are giving us a platform for negotiations, for exercising human rights in terms of having international Red Cross in Geneva, the president of which addressed us with colleague yesterday, and we could raise the most devastating humanitarian crisis issues which happened across the capital region, but which are currently, as I speak to you right now, possibly happening in the sieged cities and towns of Ukraine. Nevertheless, we do hope that with support from different fields, including universities, academias, those intellectual people who are now taking part in the peace negotiation processes, who are helping politicians to multifunction, as we are not only voting for the laws and drafting the laws and amendments today, as Ukrainian parliament continues to function in the same premises as we did before. We are dealing with something which can be called the book of history. And I think, dear colleagues, your support as from the field of academia, from the field of universities, and our partnerships have room to grow. I am representing a constituency which is far in the east of the city of Kharkiv, which used to have 2 million people, one of which fled to more safer places. But nevertheless, the universities, I have 16 only in my constituency and many more in Kharkiv city itself, are still operating. We continue programs online. We continue to support students and teachers and deans who did not flee, who are remaining in Ukraine, in Kharkiv and elsewhere. This is very important so that we continue with this academia year, and we work closely with the Ministry of Education of Ukraine to support everyone who is able to study and who would wish to continue their student life. So to say, we had 88,000 international students in Ukraine, 22,000 of which were studying specifically in my constituency. This war made them all leave Ukraine, but we do hope that they will come back and we can continue our solid partnerships. That's why I call Swiss academia for more partnerships with Kharkiv, with Kiev, with Lviv and other cities. I think war is an opportunity. War is not an obstacle. I highly appreciate your support, dear colleagues. I know that for many of you, Ukraine is far, but with such signal on your side, a signal of solidarity, given me this time to speak in front of you, which is highly appreciated, brings us closer together. And we are sure that Ukraine will win because we are fighting also for you and for our common values. Thank you very much, dear President. Thank you for this opportunity.
Dear Maria Mezentseva, thank you so much for this, in many ways, extraordinary presentation you gave. Very impressive. We, of course, are interested to see how we can support you, what we can do to keep, normal life as possible going on. And you mentioned a few things. Would you be willing to take one or two questions, or would that be possible? From the audience?
Yes, I think so, yes.
Okay, so we have time for two questions. Who wants to ask a question, please, or make a commentary? They're all, Swiss people are very shy, you know that, right? So can you travel back when once you did your completion, your mission here in the West? Is it easy to travel back and forth?
It's very challenging in a way that we can't be online all the time, to check the developments back home. For instance, yesterday when we were entering the Parliament of Switzerland in Bern, I've received the news that the best park of Ukraine, which is also located in my constituency, was severely bombed. And thank God, well, there was only one person wounded from the communal service, but there could have been kids, which usually take some walking paths over there with their parents on daily basis. That's heartbreaking. And then, we've been receiving these images from the outskirts of Kiev, from the cities of Bucha, Irpin, Gostomel, and others that are clear evidence of Russian presence and the war crimes they are committing to innocent people and civilians of Ukraine. But this is a mandate from the President Zelensky, which we have received, to spread the word among academia, among business people, among politicians. And we're meeting, we can't say that there is a more important meeting and less important one. All of them is a great sense of solidarity for us. But these trips are, I can tell you, are very tiring when we cannot reach out to, for instance, our families on daily basis to know how they are. That just puts extra stress. But this is an extra mission to be conducted elsewhere so that the rest of the world knows the truth and to speak with the word of truth. Thank you.
Dear Maria, thank you so much. We don't leave you alone. There's one last question, then we let you jump away. Please, one question.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Artem Rybchenko. I'm a friend of Maria Mezentseva, and I'm here in Zurich because we met each other a few days ago. But Maria, I know that Ukraine facing a lot of financial, legal, and political issues due to this war. Is it possible to make some coordination or ask for university faculty from legal faculty, financial faculty, or some scientific, I don't know how to explain, help or support for our governmental diplomacy or other activity to Maria Mezentseva directly, to our embassy, and to Ukraine in general?
Okay.
That's kind of question to Maria and to you, Mr. President. Thank you so much.
We would be very interested to see how we can further assist and help you in this terrible situation.
Absolutely. Absolutely, dear President. I think it's vital because the representatives of academia always engage in drafting of laws. But now this is the time when we can actually consider the peace-building processes more deeply. And I'm sure that the contribution can be made from different faculties that can be security and defense, conflict resolution, foreign affairs, and many, many others. Humanitarian dimension has to be also included, but more, even more than that, peace, reconciliation, and rebuilding of Ukraine, because what we're witnessing right now in Switzerland at every level, at daily life of people can be brought back as experience to Ukraine, because we do believe that Switzerland can play a great part in rebuilding our country together. And I think more representation of diplomatic entities has to be brought back to Switzerland. For instance, a potential honorary consulate of Ukraine in Zurich to assist the embassy, which is doing a great job in Bern with His Excellency Ambassador Artem Rybchenko and his team. And you know, we've been thrilled by the work done also by the diaspora and the people, the Swiss people who are willing to contribute, who are just in constant search of these ties with Ukraine, with the direct ties. Embassy is one thing. I think honorary consul is another one, but academia is always highly appreciated. I would be very happy to share my contacts for our further coordination and work. Thank you, dear President.
Thank you so much, Maria. We are very grateful, and we will collaborate very closely with the ambassador to see what can be done. You are not alone. We don't leave you alone. Right? Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you.
Thank you, dear friends. Thank you.
Meanwhile, I would like to welcome the ambassador of Ukraine who just arrived. If you allow, we would now play the video of the Prime Minister, afterwards switch to you, and then we have an additional discussion round, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear guests of Europe Institute, dear Swiss friends, today I'm addressing you from the frontline city of Kyiv. We have been at war for the last 8 years. Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine has been going on 40 days now. We are astounding the whole world with our resilience. We are repelling one of the world's largest armies. Every day, every minute, we are fighting for our freedom, for European values, for the right to live in our free country. And we need help in this fight. 6 months ago, I met Ignacio Cassis. We talked about the summer and joint conference. Today, all this is gone. No plans for the summer. Daily struggle is the only routine we have today. And there is Mariupol, Chernihiv, Izum, Bucha. Mariupol, an economically vibrant city in the south of our country with strong and free people, with industry and seaports. This was Mariupol 40 days ago. And today, it is a hell of Europe. 90% of all buildings were destroyed, thousands killed. People are buried in backyards and playgrounds. I mean it. Exactly where children's laughter used to sound, there is silence of death now. Listen, a city the size of Geneva exists no more. There is nothing left there. No food, no water, no medications, no electricity. There are about 150,000 people trying to get out of this inferno. But the Russian troops do not let this happen. They are shooting down columns of vehicles with people, women, and children on board. For what? For being Ukrainians, for our desire for freedom? Yes, we want to live for our own life in our own free land. Each of us is proud to be Ukrainian. Is it really possible to massacre people with impunity for their nationality in the center of Europe today? We are fighting with dignity for our lives, for our freedom, for the right to be part of Europe. We are fighting for the whole of Europe, and that's why we ask you to help us in this struggle. Help us liberate Mariupol. Help us liberate other cities and towns and villages. We are not asking to fight for us. We are asking you to continue to put pressure on the aggressor and stop fueling Russia's war engine. We are aware now. Some of the Swiss banks are trying to avoid sanctions. We know that some Swiss companies still trade with Russia. And we know for sure that this is not the position of Switzerland, not the position of each and every one of you. For more than 200 years, you have never deviated from the rule of neutrality. Now you have changed your rules for the sake of Ukraine. You imposed sanctions a few days after the Russian invasion. Therefore, we are convinced that business as usual is definitely not your position. But please, ask some of your colleagues about why they do not stop doing business with the aggressor. Why is Nestle, for example, still operating in Russia? How do they live with it, knowing that they help kill civilians every day? How do they calculate their profits? 1 million per each murdered person, or 1 billion per every child's life? More than 150 children have already died from Russians, bombs and bullets, and more than 250 have been injured. This is the official statistics, but we do not know exactly how many more hundreds of children died in the occupied and besieged cities, where people die of hunger and thirst. They freeze to death without heating in cold basement under the rampant shelling by the invaders. These days we deliver food to the occupied and frontline cities. Sugar, pasta, cereals, flour, tea, a set of products that was quite familiar to every Swiss citizen some 80 years ago. We understand more than anyone else when you say that you are in the favor of ensuring the fundamental right to food. Ukraine survived the Holodomor, the Great Famine. Today, our occupied cities are experiencing famine again. But what if the right to food for some translates into murdering the others? I want to show you results of such compromises. Video, please. dear guests of the Europe Institute, I'm addressing you as influential representative of the Swiss people. Do your best so that your country is not used as means to avoid international sanctions, so that you do not become a financial window for the aggressor. Do not become a center of Russian propaganda. The European Union has already imposed sanctions on Russia Today and Sputnik public media. We call on Switzerland to stop broadcasting all Russian channels in your country and to impose sanctions on those who currently glorify Russia and discuss its crimes. After all, you have to remember the power of propaganda and the price one gets to pay for the moment of clarity since the Second World War. I'm sure many Swiss people know the truth. The way you help Ukraine, how you shelter our citizens, our women and children, how you allocate tens of millions for humanitarian aid, and clear evidence that Ukraine and every Ukrainian is grateful to you for this, and we will be grateful to you for many years to come. We will stand, Ukraine will win, because the truth is behind us. The only question is, at what price? Therefore, I invite each of you to ask yourself a question today: how can I help stop the war in Ukraine? What can Switzerland do? In February 1941, Winston Churchill said, "Give us the tools and we will finish the job." So be strong, do not wait for the EU sanctions, just do it. Do not give the invaders any chance to continue financing the war. Keep your humanitarian response and bring in relief to Ukrainian cities, to Ukrainian people. Our defense forces have already destroyed more than 4,000 units of various equipment of the enemy. There is more than most armies have in Europe and around the world. Give us the tools and we will defend Europe. Glory to everyone who cares. Glory to Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!
Thank you very much to the Prime Minister for this impressive presentation, and the pictures we see and saw are just cruel. I suggest that now we invite our good friend, the ambassador of Ukraine, whom we have met in old glory days, and we meet again under harsh circumstances. If you want to address the audience and tell us something about Ukraine, about the future.
Thank you.
Please.
Once again. You know, you mentioned a friend. A friend in need is a friend indeed. And this is also today about Switzerland. And first of all, as an ambassador, I would like to address to all our partners here in Switzerland and to thank for all the support we have today, for all humanitarian help, for all the steps on the political level which have been taken. But if I may, I will also talk as Ukrainian. Today it is really big disaster and a big war going not only in Ukraine and for Ukraine, it's about Europe. The Prime Minister have mentioned already all the main steps, but yesterday we were shocked coming with the news about region near Kyiv, which is just around corner, where I used to spend my childhood, Bucha, Irpin, and a few other cities with disasters. So we have to speak about it. It's not more time to limit the truth. On the way here, of course, we have limited the pictures, but when you see really children and women and civilians just been killed, raped, burned, it's a disaster. And it's happening in the 21st century. It's happening in Europe. And it's just for your understanding, just 1.5 thousand kilometers from Switzerland border. So it's not somewhere far. It's very close. It's very close to your homes, to homes of our friends and partners. But unfortunately, we still have to move forward. We have to have more protection for our people. Schutzweste, Schutzhelmets with a high level of protection for our doctors, for our people who really save lives. We do need more help for our not only military, and we respect laws and rules of Switzerland, but now we talk about humanitarian, we talk about civilian people, we talk about people who save lives of each other. And even, for example, transportation, just cars, protected bullet cars, which will take people from the fields to the hospitals. Every step is very important. The only position here today as an ambassador, and first of all as an Ukrainian, we need the steps yesterday. Not even today, and of course not tomorrow. And I'm thankful to all my colleagues in Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Switzerland, and SECO, in all other institutions. We've had meetings with our parliamentarians just today and on Saturday and Sunday. So we feel the support of Switzerland. But my big question, please don't stop. We waste time. We have to move forward. There are a lot of issues that we have already discussed, but we also need the support of people, and we call it national diplomacy, people diplomacy. We do our job ourselves on the political way, but diplomacy of people, this is what we need today, from people to people. And we are Europeans who really support and protect the territory of Europe. Thank you very much. Any questions or any comments? I'm ready to discuss. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation. I mean, you mentioned a couple of things. I think something has to be done on political level. I understand that Switzerland is not completely in line yet with the European sanctions, and I think this is something that we urgently have to set right. Now, what every person individually can do, right? Is it in a way that we should collect money? Should we send money to where at the best case? Should we do people need clothing? Should we do other, sanitarian articles? How concretely can we help?
First of all, we have different hubs in different locations in Switzerland. It is coordinated via our embassy. You can find this information on our official Facebook page, because our official website is being cyber attacked once in a while, and my personal email as well. That's why we use this neutral resource, but it's an official one. Of course, we collect goods and we send almost every day a truck or two to Ukraine. We have this coordination very fit, and now it's working like Swiss watch. At the same time, of course, any financial support will be welcomed and highly appreciated. and probably we will buy goods here in Switzerland or in Europe because not much production. At the same time, on the way here, I was talking to the governor of the Kiev region, Kiev Oblast, to get some updates about the situation that was coming up yesterday and today. And we're still working on the agro sector, so we still try to prepare for the season. And you know, Ukraine was delivering a lot to Europe, and of course today the situation will probably change, but the work is still going. And very important that we coordinate with Kiev. I mean, all us ambassadors, embassies, and partners.
Mm. So I understand that it's not whole Ukraine is affected, right? There are areas or zones where you could still, you know, work as a farmer or so, or do you have to be aware that everywhere something could happen anytime?
Everywhere can happen anytime. Even in west part of Ukraine, where it was not really expected, Lviv, Lemberg, also it's about Chernivtsi and other locations. And unfortunately, before our friends and neighbors, big family with Belarus, now they open the gate. And this is the gate which is open for people, military, technique. It's open for fire of everything what's coming to especially west part of Ukraine and Kiev and around Kiev. But at the same time, we have brave people coming out on the streets and coming out to stop our aggressor, who is used to be saying he's our big brother. Now we see who is a big brother. And the problem is that the situation in what we received, the pictures and everything lately, it's before was more about Chechens coming, and it was usual. But today we're talking that Slovenian people, yes? So with one religion, they do such issues with children and women, and I don't understand what's in their heads, frankly speaking, because burning people, raping children, I don't understand.
Yeah, it makes you speechless somehow, right? We had, or we still have, very good relations to universities in Kiev and also in Odessa specifically. So would it make sense that we try to maintain some kind of education system, that we provide special programs through the internet to universities or to private people's kids sitting at home could watch then somehow education?
First of all, thank you for this proposition. Of course, we welcome, as I said, any help and assistance today. We can coordinate it. We have some people also from Odessa today with us, because our embassy is getting stronger by people who are coming and are ready to help. At the same time, we have students who are in Switzerland or in Europe looking forward for continue studying. Maybe this could be also a possibility to host some of the students who are already here physically. As you know, we're very modern country with languages, with IT, with grains and brains, as we say, and this is maybe the time where we can really focus on, and we have perfect people for this work. We have also here Mr. Artem, who is located in Zurich. Maybe as coordinator for future, it will be also possible to keep this work going.
Excellent. I think the University of Zurich has done quite a job already in supporting and admitting Ukrainian students and providing help in a very generous way.
Thank you.
Are there questions or commentaries from your side to the ambassador about the situation in Ukraine and what can be done? Great that you're here.
Thank you for all of you that you are here, because it's very important for us. Truly, it's from my heart. And my question to Your Excellency, is it good for Ukraine to spread that information about how Russia lying and what's going on in Ukraine in direct way? That's what we see it from Prime Minister. Thank you.
Well, we spoke about this several times, and the fake news world has not changed, and unfortunately the lack of information in the world, what is going on, is the limit of feeling and understanding for each person what is really going on, because every day we wake up, I mean, we here in Europe in warm beds and warm houses with food, with everything, but the life is different in Ukraine today. I mean, people really suffer. People are killed. They have no food at some regions. They have no even water. And the lack of information or fake information, this is what we really focus on as well with our partners and colleagues. And I know today now we also have online, and we have a big audience, important audience. That's why I just want to bring to everyone that the situation is really critical. And just please wake up, don't sleep, because it's not time for sleeping. It's time to do steps. The question, how can I help? Can I help somehow? For me, it's not a question. For me, no more understanding when people ask me if I can help somehow. Just do, and this is the result. I'm maybe a little bit not diplomatic, I'm sorry, but it's a war in my country. It's a war against my people. And everything what we do today and every day together with our partners, this is something what really brings the result.
We have questions coming in through the internet, and one first very basic question is, why was the war not prevented from happening?
It's a question not to the ambassador here in Switzerland, but I think there are some big politicians that really understand the meaning of war, and
or maybe other way, it could have been prevented from happening.
I understand the question. I don't know the answer because the answer is in one person's head.
Okay.
There's no responsibility for previous wars. That's the reason.
We're working on all the issues, but I mean, first step now we have to really stop the war, stop killing people, find the political solution, and then everything will come.
But
on the law, on the
do you
international
see a
law.
chance to stop the war?
We have, I mean, it has to be stopped.
Has to, huh? Has to.
I mean, every war has the beginning and end. But of course, the more our international partners, the more our friends go forward, don't stop, don't hesitate. This is the best solution. We have no time. Once again, no time. Our country, our people are killed, our country is destroyed. And once again, please understand, it's just around the corner, it's not somewhere. It's Europe.
There is also a critical question about the International Committee of the Red Cross, and say that they, in a way, are still talking about the international armed conflict and not mentioning war. Are you, in a way, satisfied with what they, in their specific circumstances, right, can do?
We have to understand that we need a platform of negotiation process. And the Red Cross, it's one of, for many years, organization and takes responsibility for the negotiations. For me, today, the result is more important than how you call it. If we have the result, no matter how you call it, this is what we need. Not talks, not sayings, concrete steps, concrete results, and at the end of the day, as we say, to have peace in our country.
Are there further comments from your side? Please, there is a lady over there. There is a microphone coming from the back.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ambassador. Very touching message of yours. I'd like to take up the opportunity to make a comment. I'm Bettina Schadler with the EDECO Group, a Swiss-based multinational workforce solutions. And we have set up a site, a pro bono site, matching job offers to job seekers from Ukraine, because we understand that in this difficult situation, actually finding a job and being able to work independently of where you are is one of the ways of also somehow maintaining a livelihood. So I'd like to make a call here for you to share. It is EDECO Jobs for Ukraine. Again, open to every company to post jobs and every job seeker, whether it's in Switzerland or anywhere in the world. And we've set this up around 10 days ago. We already have 4,000 companies that have posted jobs. We've had 2,500 job seekers already, and we look to maintain this site as long as it is needed. Thank you.
Thank you for this information, and once again, we would like to thank Switzerland. For the first time ever, we have the highest S-class status for people coming to Switzerland. And this is also, of course, the opportunity where they can not only go to school, but to find work. And this is a great job from your side. Maybe after I will just get the contact, so I will coordinate with my people. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. This is great to hear that. There is another question about, do you have any kind of special program to evacuate sick children or orphans or so, that they can get out of Ukraine? Or maybe there's someone here who's maybe willing to help.
Yes, this is an important issue. We, of course, focus on children, first of all. We have brought already several groups of children. It is... May I have a sip of water, please?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. Thank you. So the First Lady of Ukraine, Mrs. Zelenska, she is responsible for this issue. All First Ladies, for example, like my wife, she's responsible for this track especially. Of course, any help is needed. Of course, the location and the medicine assistance is important. And important that we have this coordination. Once again, I'm very much thankful to the mayor of Bern. He actually hosted 2 Ukrainians at his home, but at the same time, he also helps us with coordination in Bern. I'm sure a lot of people do a lot. Maybe I'm not aware of all the steps, but it's just concrete where I can say, and this is somewhere where it's a great example where people are practically helpful. This is important. And we're here not to cry. We're here to stay strong. We're here to be Ukrainians and Europeans. We're here to show that we are fighting for our democracy, freedom, and independence. But at the same time, together, we do it stronger, we do it more fast, and of course, important that the assistance that is coming from other countries, which is really needed on a fast track, we receive it.
We see what you do, and we are all very impressed. You know, we are also a small country, and if Big Brother is coming and you're still resisting and even paying a lesson, it's amazing. And I think we are all impressed. And you can be sure that Swiss people, there are many Swiss people around who want to help in any way, and that's why such events are important, to learn what can be done, how practically and exactly we should go forward in order to support. Right?
Absolutely, and I like the saying, not big but strong, and this is about Switzerland. This is where Switzerland can go ahead, not waiting for the sanction lists, for example, from the European Union. Do your own lists. Go ahead. We all understand that Switzerland is a big financial hub or country, and just active steps. This is what we need on all levels. And once again, not big but strong. And I think at the end of the day, we can always show the world what Switzerland has done when it was really needed. And as I started, a friend in need is a friend indeed.
We might not have that many yachts we can confiscate, but we have bank accounts, right? So everybody does what can be done. Is there more, are there more questions or commentaries from your side?
Thank you.
I think that's it.
And warm welcome from Bern. Now I'm going back to office.
We had good contacts before this thing started, and we were talking about bringing the president, as two former other presidents from Ukraine were speaking here at the Zurich University this summer, and we have to postpone that, but we still keep it in mind.
We keep in mind also the Lugano conference. We hope that it will take place in July. Of course, that it will be more focused on recovery of the country, on infrastructure issues and so on, but we still have discussed it with our partners, and so it was planned for 4 and 5 of July. I hope we keep the dates. I hope we keep this event as the first, maybe one international big event for support Ukraine, for peace. Of course, I highly appreciate, dear Professor and President Rybchenko, that we have used this, your platform, together with the Prime Minister, with our Parliament members, which is important to deliver direct dialogue. And I think after we have peace, we will also have our President with a peace speech on this great platform. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And I like this.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here in this remarkable event, and I wish you all a good night. Thank you very much.